What up, everybody? Big Herc 916 getting down fresh out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the channel, and go to freshoutseries.com and pick you up a bar of soap and wash your ass, because I know you're funky. Hey man, I'm sitting here with the homie Hector Bravo, ex-CO, worked in the California Department of Corrections, got some great conversation. And Hector, man, I want to ask you, I know that there's a lot of things that can be fixed with the system. And, one of the things I've kind of spoken on before, but, people talk about, when they started allowing this a free-for-all with the crime, and people don't realize those are gateways leading to other things. So rather than if you get, in trouble for stealing, a hat or tennis shoes or bubble gum, at least maybe I could stop you early. But now a lot of these guys are catching their first cases, guns, shootings, because it's just, they got away with so much.
Yeah.
It's like, why stop here? And it just leads up. And I've been through, I've been through juvenile hall, been through CYA, so I've seen how it can escalate. And it escalated for me, even though I did I did time in between there, but I can only imagine with these kids that are just running rampant, and then they get in the system, and then the system, you really have to rehabilitate yourself. But in your eyes, from what you experienced, man, what do you think could be done to help fix the prison system and turn the tides on what's going on? But I know prison is a business now. It's a lot of private prisons, so it's a business on top. Even though they say reform, it's a damn business. But what do you think could be fixed to help the system that's broken?
So, I've been thinking about this. I resigned 2 months ago. So, like, from my perspective, from my viewpoint, right? And basically what it's boiled down to, man, is the administration, and I speak on them, they're the higher ups, right, of the top of the food chain for the department. They've created such chaos at the officer level and inmate level, kind of pitted us against each other, like fighting, like just, man, they just created this turmoil and chaos to keep the eyes off of them while they do get their money or push their agendas or pass policies or whatever it is that they're doing, right? So what can be done? And I couldn't wrap my head around this, man. I was a lieutenant, meaning I'm a second line supervisor. So I got a sergeant underneath me who's a supervisor, and then I got officers. It was so easy for me to, when I got a direction to do something far out, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, man, hold up, right? Time out. I would address my superiors like, wait a minute, this doesn't say that we're supposed to be doing this, like, but they didn't like that. They would retaliate against me for even speaking like that. Like, how dare you go against the grain, right? And I'm like, but I'm just showing you guys policy and procedure, the same thing that you guys are booking us for, you guys are not following. So in order for that to change has to happen at the top, because there's no point in like trying to fix officers or inmates, because we're good down here at the ground level. And that's something I've been voicing. Like, I don't know, the media's portrayed that that the guards are beating up the inmates and the inmates are attacking staff. Like, hey, 95% of the time we're chilling, having conversations, that open dialogue, because it needs to be had, right? We're living there. The inmates are living there. We work there 16 hours a day. So managers need to start being held accountable and has ethics like captains, associate wardens, chief deputy wardens, associate directors. It's like they sell their soul. They sell their soul, and it's like for the agenda. We had an associate director come down not too long ago, a month before I resigned, and he's like, hey, you guys are not allowed to put inmates in handcuffs anymore. We're like, what? So basically, these inmates would get crazy. They practically assault, just go crazy, make a scene, right? And when we would have to put them in handcuffs, they would just start making all these allegations. That it got too far, right? It just went nuts. So the agenda that came down was that they would rather have us get assaulted and beat up than to get a lawsuit for putting inmates in handcuffs. But that's not even policy. Like, that's... So they need to be held accountable, right? At that level, to iron out the kinks, to Because I got no problem with inmate rehabilitation. And I'm even, man, on my channel, like everybody, I'm having some great conversations with a lot of former incarcerated individuals.
Well, you know what I used to always say when I was sitting in there for a decade, and I used to look at like some people don't want to fall in, so they kind of like are considered like just the loners, the people who do their own time. And then you got people who really don't want to be a part of it because they're from a certain hood and their homies show up, they got to roll with the program. But my thing is like, you know, why not implement a program where you have a place where these guys can go and not have to worry about that, and say a black and Mexican guy can do their stuff like in normal society and maybe do a trade or something at an institution where it's not the politics, you know what I mean, where you can have the interaction where you can prepare yourself for a work environment on the street. Because in prison, you know, in regular environment, I can't sit here and really talk business with a guy that I could potentially be building a house with because he's from Southern California.
Right.
And then, you know, a guy from Southern California can't talk to a Mexican guy from Northern California because, you know, no way. And then this guy from Fresno or this guy from Oakland, or, you know, it's just so many politics. So in order to have rehabilitation, you have to make an environment that's conducive for these guys to engage in that type of activity, because in the real world, you know, it's not about racism, man, but prison is all racist. It's super, you know, that's just how it is. And you got guys in there who don't care because they're already institutionalized. Their generation, they're just, that's it. They don't care about getting a conversation, being successful, because like you might be going home, but I'm not. Or I don't care about going because I don't really, this is my world.
Right.
So those guys are still controlling these dudes.
Yep.
So I think you would have to separate the two and create an environment where people who are conducive to trying to do something, even if you dropped the kite at night and they took you away, that way you ain't got to deal with the homies and just go to this new, then you can start trying to really program.
So they have that. They have that. It's called the non-designated program, NDPF. They have that. But the problem is how they rolled it out. And I'm telling you, it's like they'll come up with an idea, but they never fully. So imagine they open up a level like you said, right? But all they did was get a bunch of SNY sex offenders, put them on the yard, went to like level 3s with real homies and GPs, and said, "Hey, you guys are gonna get along."
Man.
So yeah, now it's running smooth. But imagine initially. And you still get dudes that touch down on that yard that take flight immediately and assault the first person that they see because they can't be on that yard. So basically, they're forcing people onto those.
Well,
yards.
yeah, because nobody, you know, is gonna want to be some dude who's some damn molester. I'm supposed to program this dude. Dude, you molested. You thinking it's cool, and you're just, you know what I mean. So, and then the homies found out, dude, you were on the yard with a dude like this, and you didn't check him in. You know, because my homeboy told me like there's prisons and even in feds where damn, they're like 85% of the all sex offenders. And they're like, what the hell is this? And these people are, to them, this is, and they're all at that same level. So how can you check somebody in when you're allowing this to go on and you're participating in this type of environment?
So this is the truth. This is why I said it gets muddy, it gets like ugly, and it gets dumb and reckless, because you brought up a good point. Like, hey, you need to have a yard where people can coexist that want to be there and want to get out. But they forced people that didn't want to be there and forced them together. So now you got SNYs fighting for their GPs, right? And what headquarters is saying is like, this needs to work. This program needs to work at all costs. So I wasn't the only one going up against the grain. So I remember one time in particular, you had some GP inmates going off, like, you know, taking flight and beating up the SNY inmates. They would put that person in handcuffs, put him in the sergeant's office, and at the time, that associate warden would say, put him back. So I think they put him back one more time, right? Because you have an associate warden telling you what to do. So, yeah, of course, we're going to document it because they're going to have amnesia. So, yeah, we put him back. Guess what? He goes off again. So back to the sergeant's office. This wasn't my incident. This was another female lieutenant's incident. And she said that, like, yeah, that AW said, put him back again. She's like, nah, I'm putting him in the hole. I'm sending him to the hole because this is ridiculous. But that's how grimy it gets.
They're trying to force these people.
They are risking lives on all levels to make for their agenda, to force something to work.
And you know, I always tell people, prison is the micro of the macro.
Correct.
Because they're trying to see, you know, like you said, let's see if it works.
Correct.
And what are they doing in California? Right?
Correct.
Try it out in the streets. Okay, look, it worked at Tehachapi, woo, wop. Now let's try it in San Francisco. Let's try it in Riverside. Let's try it in San Diego. Dude, they're doing the same shit. Yep. I seen it when they put this whole lockdown. When they closed the gyms and shit on the street, I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Go in the house?
Yeah.
Dude, and then they had, you can only get 2 steaks.
Yep.
You're going two meats per person. Mm-hmm. So when you say that, and you're talking about these programs, dude, they try these programs, because I was sitting there, I was telling my wife, because a lot of people were stressing out. I know people who went back on drugs, people who stressed a lot of people out, a lot of family abuse, and I was just sitting there thinking, and I remember I used to be working out in my garage, I bought all this stuff, and even police used to drive by sometimes and look and see my garage, see what I was doing out there, I'd be working out, listening to music, meditating, but I'm like, dude, they're trying to break people. This is a breaking tactic, man, because like, I see dudes go to the hole and dudes lose their mind. They start rubbing shit on themselves, make shit. I mean, it's like you go crazy because it's not right. Non-human interaction is not normal. We're tribal people.
We're like mammals. We're like wolves.
We're like wolves. We're pack creatures.
Yeah.
So when you put somebody in the hole, dude, it's like you lose your mind. So when they did that and isolated people, a lot of people became somewhat isolated, deep depression, nobody to talk to, you can't come around for your family for the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that was crazy, man. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going for it. I used to drive every day from the valley to the beach and walk, see the ocean and meditate. Because, dude, I see that, man. I've been in a hole in prison, man. And I'm like, dude, it makes some people go crazy.
Yeah, no barber shops open.
No barber.
I had to shave my head, but like, it was rough, man. Kids in the school, they had to do it online. And it's like, we don't even know like the long effects after that.
No, we don't know. But I'm saying, like you said, from what you've experienced, from what I experienced, when you see, like you said, programs like that, and then you see what they do to some of these schools or different programs on the street, you're like, man, this is some prison. This is an agenda. This is some prison shit.
It's an agenda.
You guys change it a little bit, cover it up, but it's like instead of you don't got the barbed wire and the khaki, but you're still doing the same type of mentality play on a bunch of people.
And and the whole. California Department of Corrections, they do a good job at putting the BS up front so you don't get to see what's happening in the back. Oh, look what we're doing over here. Look at these little dogs. They're cute. We're bringing them to the prison. You don't know. Like, inmates are still getting murdered weekly. Stabbings, 2-on-1 stabbings. I mean, business is getting conducted.
Nobody's talking about that.
No, absolutely not. Business is alive and well in prison. It's just they're putting everything up in the front. Like, look what we're doing. Look.
See, they don't. And that's what gets these youngsters. Oh man, I can snitch. I can go to prison still, but ain't nobody gonna do shit.
No.
That Tekashi shit.
No.
I tell dudes right now. I know some dudes from down south.
No.
That Tekashi shit. You think because you see Young Guns and YSL, they're telling out on bail. When they get to that prison, there's dudes in there who will run something up in them, man. You're not walking around like they will run something up in you, man.
I honestly don't even know how he's made it this far. Like, knowing what we know and how things operate, it's like, man, he's lucky still.
Yeah, like you said, go down to Mexico. You know how they look at snitching down there. They don't, dude, Puerto Rico want to get, dude, they do not, a lot of cultures don't play. See, they see this little hip hop culture and they're rapping with them.
No, it's not
Tekashi's house. Dude, go in prison and you told on, dude, them dudes, I seen, dude, they would do some, man, they would be horrible. It's horrible. Snitching's not, it's not like you think it's okay on the street. And it's still people, man, shit. You know about snitching in prison, man. You seen dudes when they find out about dudes like that think they're cool and nobody knows about it?
And I've had the opportunity to talk to some high up individuals, if you know what I mean. And I came at him like, hey, man, we both seen violence. We both know how it is. I said, I prefer to keep the peace. And he's like, oh, yeah, me too, man. Like, absolutely. It's nasty. And I was like, yeah. So we had both come into that agreement like, hey, we're going to keep the peace up until we cannot keep the peace. And then we both know what time it is. But
then, like you said, let you know, this thing happened. Dude, we're not allowing this. Don't put us in that position. Like,
right. Yeah, so no, it took a lot of effort on the lieutenant, sergeant, and officer level to unscrew up the mess at administration. We were the voice boxes, like, hey, we're our bad, man, but this is what they're making us do. Look, this is what they're making us do. So we shouldn't even have to be doing that.
So the administration, like you said, they just sit up there, cars get all this money, and they come through, visit their bullshit, because they don't have to work this. They don't care anyway. They make a little round trip, get their little special meals, and that's it. Walk the yard, act like they, whatever.
You know, it's funny you mentioned when the warden walks around, everybody gets like all, they get like very disciplined or structured. It's like, whatever. Like that's kind of the demeanor.
They're over it.
They're over it. They're over the fake and the funk because it's dangerous. It's gone too far.
Man, and they put people's lives in jeopardy, like you said, all the way around the board, man. It's not a safe environment. You forcing dudes to think, I got a program with this dude, and this dude is he's whatever, molester, child, whatever. We're not getting down like that.
Yeah. So if I could put that out there, that's what I would put out there. Like, hey, don't get it twisted. Like officers, sergeants, and lieutenants, they're trying. They're working with right in a professional manner.
Do you guys got a voice over in Congress or the state? Nothing, huh? They only let you guys get past that part, huh?
I'm the voice now, man. It only cost me my career. I had to walk away to do this.
You can't do it there's no way you do it while you're working there.
They probably would have planted something on me. Like,
yeah,
they're
I was about to say,
they're
before
wild.
You left,
they're wild.
If they knew that was your mentality, okay, we're gonna defamate them first. So that way you can't even now. But now you left on your own. There's no defamation.
There it is.
So you're lucky.
It's chess.
You're lucky you got out of there because they would have known your plans. Oh, okay, let's go ahead and plant this dude right here. So he'll never be able to talk about.
I didn't share my plans with nobody. I've hinted, hey, I'm not digging the way things are. I'm probably gonna bounce. I'm not digging the way things are. Things have changed, and but yeah, you're right. They would have smutted up my name and/or discredited me somehow, some way.
Yeah.
But boy,
and that's what makes it hard. Like even like I tell people, I'm no saint, but to try to voice certain things. But oh man, I got the XFiles. So they try, like you said, your character is your voice, and so they try to get your. But these dudes is dirty as shit.
Dirty,
man. These pods are dirty.
I ain't never seen dirty like that. Dirty. But another thing, dude, is I have documentation. I have black and white. I have documentation.
Yeah.
So that's my saving grace.
You're lucky you covered your ass.
If push comes to shove, I got all documentation.
Yeah, you're lucky you covered your ass, man. Because like
Years.
you said, these people are eating off the goat, man, and they're not trying to let nobody disrupt their thing because they're getting money. It's like a lot of these rehabilitation money. They're getting money and they're not rehabilitating nobody. Nothing's changing, and they're just sitting there getting six-figure, seven-figure checks.
It's getting worse. It's not nothing's changing. It's getting worse.
Yeah,
it's getting worse. Like, and even the inmates see it. Like, they see it. They see what's going on. They don't have a voice either.
So where do you see it going?
Something's gonna have to happen. Something's gonna have to give. There's that top chair in the department, and that person only sits in that chair now for a year because it's like a fall guy position. It's a fall guy position. You're up there, you're getting all the heat, and then hey, I'm retiring, off to the sunset.
Yeah, just ride that thing out, huh?
Something's gonna have to give, man, because they're clearly hurting for recruitment numbers. I mean, we're hurting for staff members, but yet. The one staff members you do have, you're putting them through the mud. You're destroying them.
Wow.
And how do you expect anybody to retain anybody or get new people? And all they got to do is just be good humans. Be a good human. If you don't know how to be a good professional, be a good human, right? Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't backstab, and it'll work itself out.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It seems like the people are so disconnected from what's going on in society that, they have no clue on what, like you said, the guy who's actually working hands-on day to day, what you guys are going through.
So here's a bomb I'm going to drop on you. They put male inmates in female prisons, the transgenders. You got actually male men with male parts in female prisons, and that are, raping and impregnating. And I know this because of family members are reaching out to me and pleading to me to speak out on it, and I have spoken out on it.
So that's not isolated. That's going on a lot.
Oh yeah, man. And I'm looking, right, because I like to think 3 steps ahead. I'm looking, and it's like, apparently it was a law. Where they want to integrate or transgender rights, but at some point you got to have some common sense.
So if that's not sustainable, what's going to happen when nobody wants to work in the prisons, man? Like you said, because even we know LA, even police recruits are down, but the military is down. What's going to happen when nobody wants to go in there?
They created this atmosphere, this environment. Nobody wants to work there. Nobody. I mean, you probably have your onesies and twosies, but and these new contracts, man, you got to work till you're 57 years old, 60. There's no way you can put 45 years of the prison guards in an environment like that.
And then so the females that are getting raped, even like you said, what are those? They just let them keep going back to the yard? I mean,
well, yeah, it's that agenda. They're covered. Apparently, they're covered under law. Like I said, there's a law that they're using, SB something, saying that If an inmate identifies as a certain gender, then so be it. And then they just went for it. But they don't utilize common sense or like screening processes or vetting processes. It's just like.
You think that means the end of prisons, man? I mean, what is it going to turn into? I mean, that doesn't seem like these people. I don't know what their end game is. I mean, you have guys who just says, "Hey, I don't want to go to time with a bunch of guys. I'm gonna go over here and act like a chick," and then you got this horrible environment, and you got guys in there who don't want to. I mean,
so since 2010 or whenever AB 109 kicked off, they've been releasing inmates by the thousands, hundreds of thousands. I've seen it. I've seen from housing units filled all the way up with bunk beds on the day room floor, gyms packed, to empty housing units. They're shutting down prisons left and right in California. I think Chuckawalla out in Blythe is about to be shut down too. So they're just, to my thing is, I think they're just going to kick it, not everybody out, but, you know, death row. Death row was in St. Quentin. All those death row inmates are now on main lines throughout the state of California. The condemned inmates are on main lines, regular general population, regular SNY yards.
So what do you, I mean, God, man, it's crazy because it's like you said, there's some people, I used to say, man, there was people I've seen in prison, if I seen them on my street, I'll go get my strap.
It's like the movie The Purge.
Well, it's exactly like, you know, they just showed the guy, he just got out early, like Newsom let that guy and he killed, remember the two San Bernardino?
Oh, yeah.
You know, just went up the dude and it's like some of these people, they don't care, man. So what do you do, man?
So I'm a fair dude, man. I call it like, I'm a fair dude. I'm unbiased. When I was young, I used to think there's no hope for these inmates. They're all the same. They don't want to be out. But then I gained some experience. I've had conversations and I watched it. These dudes changed their lives. They did. But you're right. It's the other ones that are just monsters.
Well, I know you have the two extremes because you look at like, you know, I like I said, I know some people who got it right now. They'd go to work every day. Mm-hmm. And some people, they just, you know, they're like that. And some people have been broken. You know, there's some people like, I don't know, it's just a whole nother level of game, man. Because I like giving people the benefit of the doubt, man. Because I was like a three-time, you know, felon, man. But I'm just trying to look like, well, what's the rationale, man? What's the rationale behind you guys letting these guys out, and then you turn in California into, you don't want people, you just open stealing, you know, letting these guys out. Everybody just, you know, people can't be secure. You don't have no gun. Don't shoot. I mean, but how do you protect what's the end game? It's like you wonder, like, these people, you know, Newsom, all these people sitting up in there, and it's like you said, they're walking around gated communities and private armed security guards. But what about the regular people who are just trying to live their life, man, and then people who are trying to go through prison and get out safely? You know, I just want to do better for myself. So it's like, I don't know what the rationale is.
Maybe that's the goal. Create chaos at the bottom to keep the eyes off the top. Like you said, micro from the prison system. Just create a chaos amongst the masses, and then I get you.
These guys at the private wineries and shit and enjoying life while you're sitting over here. Backdoor
deals with other countries, you know, just all kinds of weird stuff that they do.
Man, this shit is crazy, man. It's crazy, man. I'm just so, I guess I'm so blessed that I can get out here and share this platform.
But what does it say now when you got former COs, former incarcerated individuals, actors, family members saying the same thing? We're all saying the same thing, saying, hey, somebody needs to listen to reason. It's gone too far.
Yeah. Yeah, it is gone too far, and like you said, it used to be like, you know, there was a structure to it, but now it's like no rhyme and reason, man, and it's just a free-for-all, man.
Free-for-all.
Wow. Hey, there you have it, man. Big Herc 916, fresh out, getting down with Hector Bravo. You tired of smelling like stanky butt, funky armpits? Wash your ass. Go to FreshOutSeries.com and pick you up a bar of soap.